Good morning and welcome to a new video on this channel. As you could see, or as you can see, the weather is quite bad today. We got a lot of wind and a lot of snow. It has been snowing through the whole night. My original plan was going into a valley today, but because of the wind and a lot of snow, the danger of avalanches might be quite high, so I don't want to go into this valley, so just to be safe. And anyway, I spent more than 2 hours shoveling snow, but when I was shoveling snow, there was even a white-tailed eagle over my head watching me for a few minutes before he disappeared again into the snowstorm. But I thought, even if I'm not going on a photo trip today, because I probably had to get out again and shoveling more snow a little bit later today, I might do a short video, because I was able to do a few photos while I was out shoveling snow. From this house, from the boat's house down there, and then we have from this barn over there, and there's a small house. I don't know, you won't call it house in English, I don't know the English word, but a place where you can store tools and the lawnmower and so on. I've done a few images. I wasn't able to vlog while I'm taking the images because the wind was just too strong. So I thought I show you in this video how I work with my images in Lightroom and Photoshop. But before, I need to upload my images, and then I had to refresh myself, and then I will be shortly back to you and then show you how I work with Lightroom and Photoshop. So, see you in a few seconds. Yes, I got a little bit refreshed myself, a little bit more clean and dry. I got the fire in the oven, so it's got a little bit warm. So it's nice to be in after this a lot of wind and snowstorm. I uploaded all the images in Lightroom. I got 53 images, not so many images, and I decided to work with this one here, the cabin from this side, and as you can see, this is a freehand. I didn't use a tripod, and I just lowered down the camera all the way to the snow, so I have a very low angle and see the snow flying over the snow, and that what I wanted to achieve. I wanted to achieve a little bit white out where I see the cabin, and I have this barn a little bit in the background, but a little bit diffuse, so it gives some depth of field. And you also see here there are some lines and so on, but behind here you see nothing, and here's the road, and there's a lot of things happening behind here, but because of the exposure time, of the exposure of this image, I got this white out in this snowstorm. And there's a lot of snow, so you hadn't a long view anyway. As the settings, I used ISO 2500. I know some people might be a little bit surprised that I use this high ISO. I personally never be afraid to increase the ISO, because sometimes you need to. I could probably put a little bit lower down, but the newer cameras, they handle a higher ISO, and sometimes I believe some noise in the image actually is supporting the image, how it look like. So I'm not very afraid about noise, but anyway I can do and post-process the picture, and then I get almost rid of all noise. I have it on 28mm f8 and 160 of a second. If you then see my histogram, I expose all the way to the right. You see this triangle is not colored, so there's nothing burned out. I know that I went through some images and some images were burned out, so you need to live carefully, but I like to, or usually I try to always expose, if possible, far to the right, on the right side, so that also the darker parts in the image are a little bit lighter, and I get more details in post-processing, give me more possibilities to show the details in my image. As for the image, because I have freehand and I was laying on the ground, and you see I'm not right straight, the windows, so the first thing I will do is to straighten up the angle of this picture, and I just use these two windows here because I know they are the same level, and there it is. I also think for the image, this is not very important here actually. The house is a focus point in this image, and I want it white out, so I don't really need this part of the landscape. So what I do, I think I would like it as a square image like this. Let me see if it, something like this. I think this gives me yeah, I like this one. I have this barn here, there's some power lines here, and here's a stick, but I still have free space to the left side and also free space to the right side, so I think that's the one I want to go for. I'm not doing so very much in Lightroom or Photoshop with my images. I just do just a few adjustments I believe are good for the image, and I get the image I was looking for. And if I go down for the white balance, no changes here. The white balance is perfect. Exposure, I want this white out, so I don't do anything with exposure. You see, if I go higher up, or maybe I will go higher up, let me see. No, I don't. A little bit high up, not so much. And I really like this. You see the snow, it's flying from right to left. It's not going down, so you really see that there's a lot of wind, and this is a really winter storm. I might go a little bit down in shadows. Let me see what it brings, but not too much. I don't. Yeah, and if I put down a little bit of the shadow, oh, nothing, that's a message. If I go down on shadows, I darken again a little bit the house, and the original color of the house is it's showing much more now. I think that's I like it, and I won't do anything more here. I could do more white out, but if I here, you see, I overexpose a little bit some of the white. It's a little bit too much. So I just go a little bit down like this, plus 11, and I got this. And let me see, further I go down, nothing else I would do, nothing with the highlights, nothing with the black. Clarity, in a lot of images I very often put up a little bit clarity. You see on the image that the house sticks a little bit more out. That looked nice, but now I'm also up here. I could go down on the white again, and then I'm okay again. But for this image, I will see if I put the clarity a little bit down here. You see the house got more diffuse, and I think this is a much better image, this one, than this one. This shows that this is for me the better choice on this images, on this whiteout, that I take down the clarity. Then I get a more diffuse house, and it look really, you see really there's a lot of wind and snow in the air. I like that actually. I don't do anything on, let me see, on texture. Let me see if I, no, maybe a little bit, not too much. On 10, yeah. Everything is sharp, and there you have this. This is a little bit distracting from the house, because the house goes a little bit into here, but it's so far behind that it's I think it's okay. It's gives a bit of feeling of there's a depth in the image. I won't do anything with the saturation. I think I like the color. It's look very natural. And actually that's it, what I'm going to do with the image in Lightroom. Then I will go on export, and then I have on my laptop I have a own map I called LR for Lightroom and PS for Photoshop work. So every image I post-process I put in this map, so that I find all the images and easily can access them. And I save it as a TIFF file and export, and I'll just wait until it export into my map. Okay, here I have the file open in Photoshop. In Photoshop, it depends on the file what I'm doing on Photoshop. For example, let me see. Here you have these power lines I could take out, but I know they are there, and it doesn't matter for me. But especially if I have spots on the sensor, I usually very often go very close to the image and see if there are any spots which I don't want in this image. Then I can remove it. But this image here actually is the image I'm not going to do so much about, because I think it is good as it looks like right now. I don't need to over process it. I think there are a lot of images when you really look into them and see they are very often so processed. Their colors are just too bright, and in my mind they often very look unnatural. But I can show you if I just make a new layer from the image. So I'm working on And very often I use curves, and here I could, for example, do the house a little bit darker, and then the white bit, but and that might give me a little bit as image something yeah. This, for example, the house, but I don't want this house. I think, and here I have, and then you see now so the house is a little bit darker than in this. Stick a little bit out, and I think this is okay. So I just done a little short, a little bit changes on the curves on the image, put both images together, and now I have it. And I think this is the one I'm going for, and I don't do so much more with my images. I just save it as from this TIFF file, so I have it for later. And usually what I do is when I'm process all my pictures, and when I choose some pictures out, and I usually put them in a own map I call gallery. Every time when I'm out and have some pictures, I put them and save them in a map I call gallery. And for that, for this image, for example, I do image size. I go always on resolution 72 dp, and I think, or I believe 72 gives me a nice possibilities to show it on, especially on YouTube, not on YouTube, but on Facebook and Instagram and so. The height, and I use here just 1333 pixel, and when I have a landscape image, I already have the width as 2000 and the height in 1333. That's, but these are just my settings I always use, just to all the images look like the same. Now go on 100% and look just through the image, and I like it. It's a really wide out, and shows sometimes how harsh the weather can be up here in the north when we have the snowstorms and so on. And I personally very often do take canvas on this image, because this is completely white out. Usually my canvas, I always choose white canvas. I like them more. But if I use a white canvas, you won't see it. There's a white canvas because all the image is white. So I just do 0.1 and 0.1 black. That I have a very thin canvas around, and then I do new canvas on 2 and 2 on white. Look. And there the image is. Now I just save a copy as JPEG. Save. Okay. Don't save. And there we go. Here I go into my pictures. Here's my map, LIGHTROOM, and here the images. View. Yeah, I love it. So that's how I work a little bit on Photoshop. I now I haven't done a lot of adjustment on this image. I wanted these whiteouts, just a few adjustments in Lightroom, and work a little bit on Photoshop, and that's it. I don't need more. I could do also open it from Lightroom, not from Photoshop, open it in Topaz Denoise, i.e. Get some noise out, but it doesn't. It wasn't so much noise in the image, and I think this little bit noise in the images was something I can live with. So I hope this was a little bit interesting for you. It's just a short video about how I process my images in Lightroom and Photoshop, and probably I will do it in the future sometimes and show you, because depending on the images what I do, sometimes I do a little bit more, but on this image here it was just a few adjustments. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.